Hi, this is Sophie from the Spellcraft collection. It's Techniques Tuesday, and I thought today we would do masking because although some people know how to do this, not everyone does. Now, masking is so that you can have something in the foreground and something right behind it. But when you're stamping, if you just stamped something over the top of another stamp, it would just make it look really messy. So you'll see what I mean when we get going. Okay, so I'm using these ancient cute little stamps. It's the Woodware collection. I don't know, some of you might have it. It's called By the Sea, and they're kind of like sort of quite naive drawings, but I happen to have a paper pack that went with them, so I thought I'd go for them. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the large boat because I want the boat at the front of the picture. Okay, so what you do is you stamp the thing that you want in the foreground first. So foreground just means at the front, basically, at the front of your picture. And I want my boat to look as if it's kind of travelling up a wave. Okay, so there you go. So I've stamped it on this bit of card that I have here, 9 by 9 if you're interested. And then what I also do is I get a post-it note or a sticky note and I stamp what I want to be in the front of the picture onto the post-it note. Okay, you don't have to do it perfectly, but you have to at least see the outline. And you make sure that you stamp as much of the image onto the top of the post-it note so that you have some stickiness, otherwise you won't have the stickiness, and it's that makes this kind of technique work. Okay, so then you take the post-it note, you get your pair of scissors, and I won't do all of this, but what you would do is you would cut round as close as you can around the outside of the image. Okay, I've deliberately chose a relatively simple image so it'd be quite easy to do. Okay, so I'm cutting the image. So if I do it really kind of roughly, and I'll show you one I did earlier, although it's had stamping over the top of it, so it's a little bit scratchy. So let's say this was a brilliant bit of cutting. Okay, so go around there, around the bottom of the boat, and Bob's your uncle. So what you've ended up there is you've got the you've got a post note, and some of it's sticky, which is important, and I'll show you why. So I've done a slightly better one over here. So I've stamped the image I want in the foreground, and then I've cut round the same image onto a post-it note, and I'm going to align this post-it note onto the stamped image. Okay, and we want to make sure it covers all of the image. What this now means is that I can stamp over the top of the boat, but it will look as if it's behind the boat. Okay, so if I get my Memento ink, here is the wave. Okay, I'm going to stamp a few times. I'm going to do one below the boat, so obviously that makes no difference to the boat at all. I'm going to do another one and stamp it as if it was behind the boat. Okay, and you're stamping on top of the post-it note rather than the image. Okay, if you're stamping on the image it would just look like a boat with a load of wavy lines on it. I'm going to do another one, and I did 4 on the one that I did for a practice, so I'm going to do one more. Okay, so I'm going to make the sort of horizon go quite far up to the top. And then actually I've decided I want to have a little lighthouse as well. So if I get the lighthouse, I want that very slightly behind the boat as well. Okay, so I'm going to stamp up the little lighthouse, and I'm going to make the lighthouse be behind the boat as well. It doesn't matter if a bit of the lighthouse is slightly above the piece of paper, because you can still tell that it's a lighthouse. So at the moment that looks a little bit odd. Okay, it looks a little bit odd. But when you take away this mask, what you now have, which I think is really cool, is you have the boat with the waves behind it and also the lighthouse behind it. You then go ahead and stamp that. I mean, the other elements in my picture, just in case you're interested, is a little, I've got like a little little seagull in the distance, which is really, I love the little seagulls. And also on the finished one that I've done, I've got, it says ahoy there for a great day. So I put the ahoy there at the top of the picture. And I've got for a great day, I've got going on kind of in between the waves, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, like so. Okay, so there's your picture complete. And what I love about this technique is it means you can create little scenes. So all your stamp sets, including the sheep ones of mine, for example, or the bees, or any stamp set that you might have, you can create like a little scene, and that's what's so cool about this technique. So I'll show you, if I just move all these little stamps out of the way, I'll show you what I finished and what I ended up with. So here is the finished product. So there is a similar scene that I did before, where you've got the boat in the foreground, you've got the lighthouse behind, and also the waves behind it, and then I've coloured it in so it's more distinctive. So if we just put this card together, so I've had this, I don't know how long I've had this paper pad for, but I just think it's really cool. So I've used this paper pack, okay, so I cut it down like so, which also has like little lighthouses, and the sort of colour, I looked at the colours used in this paper pack and emulated similar colours. Then I've got this embossing folder, which I also haven't used at all, which is like waves. So it's actually beautiful, both debossed and embossed. The debossed is where the paper's being pushed inwards on this side, but the embossed is where it's raised up. So I'll put this in the centre, like so. And then finally my little image, which I have to admit I'm extremely pleased with. I think it looks ace. When I started this I thought, oh, I'll just do a quick scene, but I'm really chuffed with it actually. So just pull off the double-sided foam tape, stick it in the middle, and because the sentiments are already on the actual image itself, you don't really have to do a happy birthday or anything, you know, it could be generically for, could be anything really, but it's obviously, I suppose, a mail card. Give my top a little bit of a wipe, so there you go. So there is quite a funky card, and the technique today that we learnt was masking using a post-it note. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed that, nice quick one, and a really cool technique to boot. Okay, so hopefully you enjoy watching it, and see you again for another Techniques Tuesday. Bye!